Today is a monumental day for me, as I stand at home, enveloped by walls that whisper with memories. My wife, Elizabeth, is here as well, her face beaming with pride and joy. She wanders through the rooms with a vibrant curiosity, and I feel her infectious energy lifting my own spirits. We are in the heart of my family's estate, the very place where my father's ambitions were realized. He poured his life into making this property extraordinary, and today, it's valued at an astounding $100 million. It stands as his legacy, a testament to his life that he entrusted to me upon his passing. Now that my father is gone, my wife has decided she deserves a portion of this family heritage. She is adamant that what has always been solely mine should now be shared between us. However, I am not so easily swayed. I possess the legal documents, the proof with my name, Tom, clearly stated as the one and only rightful heir. At 42, I've built a career in the digital world, working for an online bank. This path was more than a professional choice, it was forged by the principles of financial management my parents instilled in me. They taught me the profound importance of fiscal responsibility, lessons that guide me to this day. Growing up surrounded by wealth, my parents were careful to teach me to respect money, never to take it for granted. Despite our affluence, they ensured I was not raised with a sense of entitlement. My allowance was no different from my peers, our meals were rarely extravagant, and I attended a local public school, not an exclusive private institution. Nevertheless, rumors of our family's great fortune circulated. People imagined my life was a constant parade of luxury and leisure, all because of our grand home and financial standing. They would ask, "Tom, with a house that big and all that money, life must be a breeze, right? You must have all the latest gadgets. Can we come over?" These questions were common, rooted in the belief that I had everything. In reality, my life was far from the lavish fantasy they pictured. I didn't own the newest toys or the most advanced gaming consoles, yet the assumption persisted. At times, it felt as though my friendships were based more on my family's bank account than on who I was as a person. "You're rich, Tom, right? Could you lend me some money?" Requests like these always made me feel uncomfortable, as if they were a direct challenge to the values my parents had worked so hard to teach me. This unease came to a head when I accidentally broke my friend Maria's gaming console. I didn't have the cash on me to fix it, which only complicated the situation. Around that time, a classmate named Julie approached me. She asked if I had told my parents about the accident, but I was too afraid of their disappointment to admit anything. "I can't tell them, they'll be furious," I confessed. "That's why I'm asking you." Tom saying no was incredibly difficult, especially since I didn't want to create tension at school. But my parents had been firm about not lending money, so I had to apologize to Julie and explain I couldn't help her. After my refusal, Julie was in tears, and soon, rumors began to swirl. I was accused of being a selfish friend, someone who wouldn't help another in need despite my family's wealth. I tried to explain that I simply didn't have the money to give, but my words fell on deaf ears. Then, Maria delivered a blow that truly stung, suggesting I cared more for money than for my friendships. The situation escalated when Maria and Julie began spreading outright lies, claiming I owed them money for the broken console and was refusing to pay. Eventually, the school authorities discovered the truth and reprimanded them, but instead of quelling the gossip, it intensified, finally reaching my parents. My father decided to intervene, arranging a meeting with their families. Although they apologized, I chose to keep my distance from Maria and Julie from then on. I still had to endure their glares and whispered comments in the hallways, but at least the direct confrontation ceased. That evening at dinner, my father shared a piece of wisdom that has remained with me ever since. He emphasized the importance of standing by one's principles, particularly concerning finances. "It's perfectly fine to say no, Tom," he said, a reassuring smile on his face. "You never have to disclose your financial situation to anyone. If someone persists, just tell them you need to check with your parents, even if you already know the answer." This lesson in handling monetary matters with grace and firmness became a cornerstone of my character as I matured. I grew more selective about who I allowed into my inner circle, prioritizing friendships built on mutual respect rather than financial interest. After college, I was diligent about maintaining a clear separation between my professional and personal lives, steering clear of any financial entanglements. This early experience profoundly shaped me, teaching me the critical importance of setting boundaries in both my relationships and my finances. At the age of 35, I met Elizabeth through a mutual friend. Though she was a few years younger, her vibrant and genuine personality immediately captivated me. What began as casual dating soon blossomed into a serious relationship. 2 years later, we celebrated a beautiful wedding, an event that brought immense joy to my parents. About a month after we were married, my father suggested it was time for Elizabeth to visit our family home. While I trusted her completely, I had a slight reservation. Elizabeth had a penchant for talking, and I worried she might unintentionally share private family matters. Still, after a month of marriage, I felt it was the right time to welcome her fully into my world. I invited her to my parents' house for a visit. When Elizabeth saw my family's home, she was utterly astonished. Her surprise was palpable, making it clear she had never grasped the extent of my family's wealth. The visit went smoothly, but on the drive back, she couldn't stop asking questions about our finances. I knew very little about the specifics myself, so her persistent inquiries made me feel uneasy. A few months into our marriage, my mother called with devastating news: my father was in the hospital. It came as a complete shock, as I hadn't been aware of any serious health issues. Reflecting on our last visit, I recalled he hadn't seemed his usual self, and a wave of worry and guilt washed over me. That Saturday, when I joined my mother at the hospital, my father tried to maintain a cheerful demeanor, but we could see the strain behind his eyes. In his gentle way, he apologized for being what he considered a burden to us. Soon after, the doctors delivered the diagnosis: advanced pancreatic cancer, which had spread too far for surgery. The news felt like a physical blow. We struggled to comprehend how someone as health-conscious as my father could fall so gravely ill. Despite the grim prognosis, my dad remained resilient, his only wish for us to find happiness, a sentiment that brought us all to tears. I wanted to cherish every possible moment with him, but strict hospital regulations limited visits to immediate family. He wished our friends could gather at home, filling it with laughter and creating joyful memories, a poignant reminder of the life he wanted for us. I promised him I would keep our home a place of happiness, even after he was gone. Fulfilling that promise became my focus. I decided to start renovating the family home, a project to occupy my mind during such a painful time. Elizabeth, ever caring, expressed concern over how much I was taking on for my father, completely unaware of the other burdens I was carrying, like the complexities of our family's estate, which I had yet to discuss with her. When Elizabeth asked about my dad's condition, I finally confided in her, sharing the full weight of what we were facing. It was a relief to have her support while I navigated work, hospital visits, and a storm of emotions. However, the dynamic between us began to shift. Elizabeth started probing about my father's assets and the family estate. She even suggested we seek legal counsel, just in case something were to happen to my mother as well. This brought back painful memories of my childhood and felt deeply inappropriate. My father had a lawyer he had trusted for decades, but Elizabeth's insistence on being financially cautious began to sow seeds of conflict between us. A few months later, my father passed away after a courageous fight with his illness. In the ensuing family discussions about the inheritance, I was bequeathed a significant house valued at $55 million. Elizabeth's interest in the inheritance grew, and despite my efforts to keep her removed from these matters, her curiosity became more intense. She was thrilled at the prospect of moving into the mansion and constantly peppered me with financial questions, catching me completely off guard. I later discovered that she had been speaking with my cousin at the funeral, who had casually remarked that it would be a shame for such a grand house to sit empty. This conversation only fueled her ambitions and complicated things further. Despite my attempts to explain to Elizabeth that the inheritance was not a shared asset, she seemed unable or unwilling to understand. Our relationship grew increasingly strained because of it. Though she had been present at my father's funeral, she offered no help with the memorial services or the legal proceedings that followed. As life began to find a new normal, Elizabeth dropped a bombshell. She announced that she had legally changed the ownership of my family home to her name and had the documents to prove it. I was utterly shocked and deeply hurt. Not only had she shattered my trust, but her actions demonstrated a profound disrespect for our relationship and the boundaries we had established. The inheritance issues had unearthed a much deeper dysfunction in our marriage. We were forced to confront our differing values, the erosion of our trust, and the very future of our relationship. When Elizabeth informed me she had changed the deed to our family home without my knowledge, my world tilted. She declared she was tired of our marriage and proposed we continue living together in the house as roommates, with her providing minimal financial support. She then threatened me with divorce if I refused, a staggering ultimatum to receive while grieving. I pleaded with her to reconsider, to explain the rationale behind such a drastic decision made in secret. She coolly stated that she had consulted a lawyer who advised her on how to transfer the ownership without my consent. Our marriage had become so toxic that divorce felt like the only path forward. I was heartbroken and disoriented, feeling alienated from the home and life I had once shared with her. I couldn't fathom her motives. It was as if money had corrupted the person I thought I knew. The following day, Elizabeth demanded the house keys, asserting that the property was now legally hers. Her attempt to take possession was thwarted when security personnel denied her entry. I presented them with the authentic ownership documents, which clearly stated the house was mine, a legacy from my father. Seeing the proof, Elizabeth was dumbfounded. She had put her faith in a man named Jerry, who had promised to handle the legal transfer. It turned out Jerry had scammed her. Elizabeth had paid him $360,000 to execute the fraudulent ownership change. She was irate, frantically trying to call Jerry, but her calls went unanswered. She raged at him for his deceit and for stealing her money. Then, she redirected her fury at me, accusing me of frivolous spending and questioning my grasp of inheritance law. Even as Elizabeth tried to backtrack and suggested we give our marriage another try, the chasm between us was too vast. The trust was irrevocably broken. I asked the security guard to escort her from the premises, firmly closing a painful chapter of my life. In the months that followed, I had ample time to reflect on the turmoil. The experience crystallized for me the supreme importance of trust and honesty in any relationship. Elizabeth's lies and betrayal served as a harsh lesson, teaching me to be ever vigilant against allowing money to cloud my judgment. During the first memorial service for my father at our family temple, Elizabeth made an unexpected appearance. In the time since our divorce, life had not been kind to her. She was unemployed, facing financial hardship, and it seemed the people she had once trusted had abandoned her. She stood there looking utterly lost and desolate, a stark contrast to the solemnity of the occasion. As she tearfully attempted to apologize, her emotional outburst unintentionally disrupted the service, causing a stir among my relatives. Despite her evident distress, I had to ask her to leave. Security had to intervene to ensure a peaceful departure. It was a profoundly difficult moment, especially during such a sacred event, leaving me with a tangle of conflicting emotions but also a resolute desire to move forward and put our shared past behind me. I decided it was finally time to leave my parents' home, a move I had been contemplating for some time. I found a new residence, severing my final ties with Elizabeth for good. Meanwhile, Elizabeth continued to appear at the family property, which my mother and I had decided to transform into a rental villa. Together, my mom and I managed the new business, turning it into a vibrant, happy place for countless visitors to enjoy. On her end, Elizabeth seemed to be making an effort to enact positive change in her life. She secured a new job and appeared genuinely focused on a fresh start. Turning our family home into a rental villa not only honored my father's vision but also created a welcoming haven for guests from all over. The villa, celebrated for its breathtaking views and immaculate gardens, quickly gained popularity. We hosted a wide array of events, from intimate weddings to large family reunions. Working on this project with my mother brought us closer than ever and filled our lives with a new sense of purpose and joy. As the villa's success grew, we decided to enhance its offerings. We installed a swimming pool, a cozy outdoor lounge, and a delightful play area for children. Our commitment to providing an exceptional guest experience paid off, and the villa became a premier destination for those seeking a tranquil retreat and unforgettable memories. This venture was never just about financial gain, it was about bringing my father's dream to fruition and creating a space for others to forge their own special memories. Tending to the villa's garden filled me with a profound sense of happiness. Witnessing our family home transformed into a place where people could gather, celebrate, and create lasting bonds made me incredibly proud. I could almost feel my father looking down, beaming with pride at what we had achieved in bringing his dream to life. This endeavor not only fulfilled his vision but also provided us with financial independence and a sense of liberation. Along this path, I learned invaluable lessons about trust, the true value of money, and the inner strength required to carve out one's own destiny, free from the shadows of the past. In this journey of self-discovery, I found that confronting adversity can fortify one's spirit and determination. I occasionally heard updates about Elizabeth from mutual friends, and it seemed she was successfully turning her life around, finding meaningful work and learning from her past errors. News of her progress brought me a sense of peace, a quiet acknowledgement that we were both moving forward and growing. My father's dream had become a catalyst for growth, not just for my mother and me, but for every guest who walked through the villa's doors. It evolved into a sanctuary of joy and celebration, a place where lasting memories were cultivated. The villa's success stands as a testament to my father's foresight, a constant reminder of the enduring values of resilience and hard work. Through this venture, we have created more than just a place to stay, it is a wellspring of happiness, a hub for memory-making, and living proof that dreaming big and dedicating oneself to the effort can lead to truly incredible outcomes.